When thinking of the national parks, our mind sends us on a journey to some of the most iconic vistas in America. But below the surface lies an unseen world. These are the cultural and scientific treasures that make up the underwater wonders of the national parks. Death Valley National Park. Vast, dry, and unforgiving. But things aren't always as they seem. Here, the desert has a secret. Underwater researchers make their way through this hostile terrain, where amidst the sweltering heat and barren landscape lies an oasis. A break in the earth that reveals an environment unlike any other in the world. A pristine and isolated ecosystem known as Devil's Hole. The National Park Service's mission of science and stewardship brings these divers to an unlikely spot. In temperatures that routinely exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit, they prepare to do their part in studying and protecting this hidden treasure, which they hope will remain for generations to come.
And the last thing you expect at the end of, miles and miles and miles is this kind of oasis, this hole that's literally in the middle of the desert.
It's part of an underground water system that is very extensive. The water will come out from rain, snow melt, percolate through the ground, enter the aquifer, and it takes about 10,000 years for one molecule of water to finally reach Devil's Hole.
And what's really neat, it's considered an extreme environment. It's 93 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, so it's like bath water. Also, it's very low in oxygen. And so, for most aquatic systems, it would be considered very low in biodiversity, but Devil's Hole is considered the smallest known habitat for a vertebrate species.
That species is the Devil's Hole pupfish. The fish, roughly 1 inch in size, is native to Devil's Hole and can be found nowhere else on Earth. And its relatively small population makes it arguably one of the rarest fish in the world. It was one of the earliest species to be placed in the Endangered Species Conservation Act. The National Park Service has made it one of its missions to help manage and study the Devil's Hole pupfish by performing annual population counts.
They got their name because of their behavior. They move around like little puppies playing around in the water, so they got their name as pupfish. And you can see them on the shallow shelf of the habitat chasing each other around, just having fun.
The shallow shelf allows for algae to be there and insects to grow, so the pupfish do most of their foraging and most of their spawning success occurs on this shallow shelf. So it's a very important habitat of this Devil's Hole ecosystem.
The shallow shelf is paramount to the survival of future generations. With that in mind, the Park Service has built a removable walkway into the cliff walls, ensuring there is minimal impact to the environment as the divers enter the water.
We have a group of safety divers that have been volunteering their time here for several decades. We have one in particular that's been counting Devil's Hole pupfish for 39 years.
I've been out here with the pupfish count since 1976. Yeah, I don't know of anyone who's been diving longer.
But getting in the water in itself is kind of a unique experience. I mean, the water temperature is 92 degrees.
There's air in that one.
Okay, I turn both of them on.
Everybody ready for pressure check? Have you been checked?
Yes.
You don't have to wear a wetsuit. You don't have to worry about thermal conditions. I mean, the water is perfectly comfortable to dive in.
Are we ready?
Everyone good?
Everyone be safe. Where I go?
Many of the researchers have been diving the cave for years, and they know the layout like the back of their hand.
Once you get in, it's a very unique environment because everything is at an angle. There's no straight down. Everything is like if there was just a crack and this crack opened up in the earth and it filled with water, that's the whole environment. So you'll drop down and you'll descend to this kind of down this main fissure. And it kind of ends where there's this place they call Anvil Rock. And then you kind of turn a corner. You take a hard right, and it goes into this whole nother section with a whole nother kind of crack in the earth, and it just keeps going.
We actually don't know how deep it is. What we do know is that divers have been down to 436 feet. They had some really bright dive lights, and they pointed downward, and they couldn't see a bottom.
So the environment is tremendously unique from a dive perspective. There's no vertical up and down, and it is a true cave dive.
When we go under that cave, it's called the flat room. We do that so our bubbles move the fish around. So when we come back up and count that level, they're moving around more and easier to see.
There's different rooms that you can go. There's an area they call Crystal Room or the Crystal Cavern, where there's these kind of popcorn crystals that just react to the light, which you can actually surface out of the water. The light bounces off them, and it's a spectacular sight.
Not too bad.
You're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Ready? Breathe out, please. I'll follow Kevin.
The fish counts were established in the 1970s and occur twice a year, once in the springtime and once in the fall. Each count occurs over 2 days, with 4 dives scheduled daily, an integral part of the conservation and recovery effort at Devil's Hole.
So a lot of people ask, how do we count the pupfish? How do we come up with this number? How do we know the population's low or high? Is it the same as the past? So to do this, we descend down to a depth of about 105 feet. We work in 2 teams of 2. And within one of those groups, we have a counter and a safety diver. And when we reach about 105 feet, 110 feet, we turn around and we start a certain path and transect all the way up to the surface. So we actually have 4 different levels, we call it.
So when you count the first level, write down the number. Count the second level, write the number. Go up the third level, count the number. And then the 4th level is actually the area right below the drop off there for the breeding ledge.
While the divers perform the underwater count, a surface count is occurring simultaneously at the shallow shelf.
So I got 4. 2 of them were 10 millimeters in length.
With the majority of the
15,
population breeding
got
and
19.
eating in this area, sharp eyes and teamwork are necessary to spot the diminutive fish.
And a lot of times there's a lot of fish there. Sometimes they put a net up because you never know. The surface guys counting here may scare them over the ledge and you count them twice. Or I may scare them up and you miss them. So there's opportunity for missing individuals or double counting. So we do one count historically without the net, another one with the net.
32.
8.
6.
Okay, ready? Go. And I've got these two.
The systematic approach to the counts and the transects that they run, ascending up the topography of the hole and then accurately counting every fish that they saw, gives them a solid average. The 2 independent researchers going at 2 separate times were generally within 3 or 4 fish of each other, which is pretty remarkable. What that tells me is it obviously is a very accurate count.
I have the dubious honor of having recorded the highest count ever recorded, somewhat over 500, and the lowest count ever recorded, which was 38. This few years ago. The population's rebounded a bit. We're getting in the 80 to 100 range right now, so things are coming back, but there's still some issues about why it hasn't come back to where it was.
And although the numbers aren't as high as they once were, the number of pupfish counted during this outing totaled 80. That's more than double from the historic low count of 2013, when the fish were estimated to number in the 30s. And although things are looking better, the total is well below what it once was.
The best description of the Devil's Hole pupfish is the canary in the coal mine of global climate change. If you want to study the impacts of climate change before it really affects everybody else, pick an organism that is extremely sensitive to climate change.
So there are several hypotheses of why this population has declined over the last, say, 15 to 20 years. One is to climate change. The atmospheric temperature is getting warmer, and it's projected to even get warmer in the next 20 to 40 years. That slight increase in atmospheric temperature can push a daily high above what the eggs can handle that are laid on a shallow shelf.
The research at Devil's Hole not only provides a glimpse into the pupfish population, but could also help predict the impact of climate change on a variety of different species.
It's exciting. It's really a privilege to be able to scuba dive and work with, arguably the most endangered fish on the planet.
So Devil's Hole is one of a few places in which you have an isolated fish that lives in an aquatic habitat that doesn't have an outlet to anywhere else. It's a hot, warm environment, it's an extreme environment. So we have a lot we can learn about how has this fish adapted to hot temperatures, hot water, low oxygen, limited food in the winter. It's this little brilliant blue fish, and they've persisted for many, many thousands of years in an unlikely place. Out in the middle of the desert, we have this oasis, this really neat ecosystem.
An ecosystem that, despite its unforgiving surroundings, has seen life flourish at its depths. And with the help of the Park Service and its many volunteers, the conservation of this remarkable underwater wonder ensures that the Devil's Hole pupfish will continue to thrive for years to come.